Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmate. My assigned topic is to discuss the relative measures of variation. It means that it measures how spread out the set of data compared to its mean. So, it is known as coefficient of variation. Coefficient of variation shows a variation relative to the mean. It is used to compare two or more groups of distribution of scores. So usually, coefficient of variation expressed through percent. That is because you need to calculate it by dividing the variance from the mean. To get the result, you need to multiply it by 100 to get the percentage. So, the smaller the coefficient of variation, the homogeneous the score are. It means that just like what Ma'am Betty said in our previous discussion, that the more nga gamay ang score, it is possible nga doon ra po siya sa mean. Dili kayo siya spread out. But dili siya dispersed from the mean. But the higher the score are, it is more dispersed from the mean or heterogeneous. Kanang layo siya sa mean. Spread out sila sa mean. So, I have here the formula of coefficient of variation. This is the formula. So, coefficient of variation is equal to S stands for standard deviation. And then, this one stands for the mean value. So to get the percentage, we need to multiply it by 100%. So this is how the coefficient of variation be solved. So I know that you already know how to solve the mean or to compute the mean and the standard deviation. I have here an example. So this is the section A, section B, and section C. All we need to do is to compare these groups of distribution of scores. So in section A, to compute the mean, we need to add up all of this number and divide the number of cases. So the total number is 185. And then we divide it by 12. It is because the total number of cases is 12. So the mean value is 15.42. And in section B is the total is 184. So we divided it by 12 because the number of cases is 12. So it equals for the mean value is equal to 15.33. And then in section C, the total of 170 divided by 12, and then the total number of mean value is 14.17. But before that, we need to solve the standard deviation in order as to compute the coefficient of variation. To solve the standard deviation, we need to use this formula.
The sum of the value of x minus the mean square the differences, then we're gonna divide it by n minus 1. The format that we use to get the standard deviation is summation of x value minus the mean square the differences, the sum of the squares, then we're gonna divide it by n minus 1. The first number of section A is 10. We should subtract it from the mean, the 15.42, then squared. The next number is also 10. Also subtract it, and we're gonna keep doing this until it's finished. Then n is equal to 12 minus 1. Let's do one step at the time. 10 minus 15.42 is equal to negative 5.42. Then copy the squared. The negative sign won't be matter. After you squared all of these, you will add the all numbers and then divided to 11, which is the n. Imo siyang i-square root. Square root of 14.8 is 3.75. That's how we get the standard deviation of section A, the 3.75. So, isolve na nato ang section B. The same ra gyapon siya nga formula sa section A. I-subtract gyapon nato ang x value sa mean and then squared, tapos i-divide nato into n minus 1. The same process, i-minus lang siya sa mean. The next is 13 minus 15.32, then 15 minus 15.32, then squared. Na keep doing this until nga mahuman. So, i-divide na po nato ni siya sa number of cases, then minus 1. Let's do one step at the time. 10 minus 14.17 is equal to negative 5.33. Pagkahuman nimo minus na tanan, is-squared na pud nimo. Pagkahuman, mag-get na nimong result, i-add nimo sila tanan, tapos i-square root dayon nimo para makuha nato ang answer. In section B, the standard deviation is 2.35. This is how I solve the ingatuon ra gyapon siya pag solve. So, in section C, the standard deviation is 4.4. I know that you have an idea on how to calculate this because in our previous discussion, it was discussed.
Already done computing the mean value and the standard deviation of each section. So now let's proceed to computing of the coefficient of variation. In computing the coefficient of variation, we should use this formula. The coefficient of variation is equal to standard deviation divided by the mean and then multiplied by 100%. So, in the section A, the standard deviation is 3.75 and the mean is 15.42. So, we need to divide this one and then the answer is 0.2432. So, multiplied by 100%, so the coefficient of variation in section A should be 24.32%. So in section B, the standard deviation is 2.35 and then the mean is 15.33. When we divided it, the answer is 0.1533 multiplied by 100%, so therefore the answer is 15.33%. In section B, the coefficient variation is 15.33%. And then in section C, so the section C is the standard deviation is 4.04 and then we divided it by the mean, the 14.17, and then after that we multiplied by 100% and the result is 28.51%.
It is very basic to solve the coefficient of variation if we know how to compute the mean and the standard deviation.
The coefficient variation of section A is 24.32. In section B, it's 15.33. And in section C, it is 28.51. It means that the score of the section B is less scattered. In other words, it is homogeneous rather than the section A and C kay gamayang score. In section C, it is more spread out. It means that it is dispersed from the mean and then it is more spread out than the A and B.
That's end of my report. Thank you for watching and listening.